Good evening and welcome to the Bobby Moore Stand. I'm Gary and this is Chris, and it's the end of the week and we're happy, aren't we, Chris?
Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. This week's been a long old week. I don't know how it's been for you, but it's been long. And I think the most frustrating thing about it is that we've been working and it's been beautiful weather, and we get to the weekend and apparently the weather's supposed to take a bit of a dip, which is just so typical, isn't it? It's so typical. But it's bank holiday weekend, so no, I'm really buzzing for 3 days off, mate. I need it.
Well, this week was end of quarter week, so I had to bring some, I had to book some deals, and that all got done by Wednesday. So effectively, I wasn't wanted on Thursday and Friday. I wasn't needed anymore. I felt
Rarity, mate.
Abused. Yeah. No, it really is, because I've got next week off. Yay! So everything's nice, neatly tied up in a little bow, but it'll be chaos when I get back, like it always is.
Man, you have so many holidays, don't you? Honestly,
yeah, you're having a laugh. You're having a laff. I mean, it's nice of you to pop in between your holidays.
You're always off, mate.
Honestly, I've got, this is not an actual holiday. This is a working holiday, Chris. I've got garden to do, and it's hot out. I need it to cool down for a start. I need it to cool down. I'm going to die. Yeah. Good evening, everyone in the chat, and good evening, everyone that's watching. Big game coming up on Sunday. Now, some might say, some from North London might say it's our cup final. It isn't. It's just a game that we really like to win. Other than that, we don't really look at Spurs, do we? Having said that, we did notice they were in the semi-finals of a European competition last night, didn't we?
Yeah, it's hard not to notice that. It's hard, and I'm very worried that my chilling prediction may come true, being a North London double. But let's hope it doesn't, mate. Let's hope it doesn't.
Oh, you determined to send me to the Prozac, can't you? I couldn't cope with that. I couldn't cope with that. But it's almost inevitable. I mean, they've got a really lucky draw in that semi-final, haven't they? Bloody hell! I mean, look who we had in that competition.
I know.
The ones that won it 6 times in Seville, and then Lyon, who were on fire, Frankfurt, and then last time around Leverkusen. I mean, no easy route to the final at all. Yeah. North London, they get to play some, I don't know, Sunday league team from Hackney Marshes, don't they?
Bodo, Glimt. Well, look, it's 3. I think it's 3-1, isn't it? Yeah, it's 3-1. So it's still all to play for. I think that goal was crucial, actually, because you never know. They go back to their little ground. Anything can happen, mate. We've seen it time and time before. But I think the way it looks at the moment, I would imagine it's going to be a Spurs United final. I think it's kind of written, isn't it? I think now.
We live in hope. Come on, you Bolo Glint. You can do it. So any ideas where I can get a Bolo Glint shirt, Chris?
I don't know, mate, but I think I want to get a half and half scarf, like a half West Ham, half Bodo Glint. I don't know where I can get one from, but I would like to buy one too.
Ain't nothing funnier than seeing Spurs in a European final absolutely fuck it up, though. I mean, that was hilarious. The one that they lost to Liverpool.
Oh, yeah.
We went to a pub in Enfield, a Spurs pub, actually, with my cousin who supports Spurs and his brother who supports West Ham and his brother who supports Arsenal, right? And so we're sitting in the front of the pub, and honestly, it went so Spursy. It was unbelievable. The game was over by half time. And then because we're out the front, we're smoking, it's like the pub got attacked by Arsenal fans. I mean, I didn't know that sort of stuff happened around there, but it does. And we sat there smoking as the bouncers took care of these noisy Arsenal people. I kept coming.
I didn't know Arsenal had noisy fans, to be honest with you, mate. I've never heard them before.
They can't be in the ground, can they? Can't be in the ground. It's very quiet in there.
I'll tell you what, though, right? I mean, I know we're here to talk about West Ham, but I did watch the Arsenal game the other day, the Arsenal PSG game. They played over, home game. My God, right? Bearing in mind that's a semi-final, albeit first leg, a semi-final for the Champions League. Yeah. The atmosphere, from what I could hear, was so pathetic. It just made me think, like, when we compare fan bases, our obviously West Ham compared to Arsenal, there is no comparison, because look, when you look at when we played Sevilla, obviously at the London Stadium, you compare that to playing PSG in a semi-final, and the atmosphere was as flat as a pancake. It just makes you realise how special our fans can be, right? It really does.
Can be
being the key thing here, because obviously we haven't really had much to sing about, and as we all know, the kind of atmosphere at the London Stadium has been getting progressively worse week on week.
Yeah.
When I watched that game, I was thinking, shit, that's a semi-final of the Champions League, and your fans.
No, can you imagine? Can you imagine? We know Seville was like, but that was so loud that night. Really intimidating. It was so good. But the one that was the most intimidating was Leverkusen last year. I mean, You know, was it Jonathan? Who was the centre half who absolutely shit himself when? Who was it?
Jonathan Tah.
It was Jonathan Tah. It was him, was it? But he completely lost it when Antonio mixed it up with him, didn't he? Right in front of us in the Bobby Moore lower. And he got taken off after something ridiculous, like 20 minutes or something, didn't he? By Alonso. Really, really rattled. He was making a mistake every time he went near the ball. He literally lost it. And I was interested to see last week, it was reported that Amorim is in for Jonathan Tah.
Is he? Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Good player, physically imposing, not particularly fast. I don't know if he's ideal for the Premier League, but I don't know. Mate, I'll take him.
He doesn't handle a warm atmosphere very well, does he?
Well, either way, I'd swap him for one of our centre halves, mate.
Well, that's true. That's true.
He's a good player. Yeah. He is a good player, mate. He is a good player. But you say about
Sorry, hang on a minute. Man United and Tottenham fans moaning about the price of hotels in Bilbao for the final should have come to Prague. I mean, bloody hell. Can you imagine where you couldn't even get in the bloody ground in Prague unless you were lucky to have a friend who gave you a ticket? But this is just, you know, how pathetic. I mean, many of us were booking flights and hotels. I booked a flight to Dublin for the final of the Europa, right? And a hotel. And I had to go and cancel it because you don't want to make that mistake twice. Now they've been to a final before in recent memory, Spurs. Man United have been to loads of them. You think then fans would be planning ahead rather than phoning in and moaning about it, wouldn't you?
But, mate, I'm not being funny. If that's West Ham, and regardless of what the price is going to be, we're going to try and make it happen. You know, I'd gladly pay over the odds to see West Ham in a fucking final. I'm not going to moan about it. Why the fuck are Spurs moaning about it? Jesus, they won a fucking trophy. When was the last time they won a bloody trophy? You know, sure, and they're fucking moaning about it. Seriously, that's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. What I thought. Andy said it wasn't Jonathan Tah. I thought it wasn't as well. I don't know who it was.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
Antonio did terrorise him, and it was highly amusing, very amusing. Guys' legs turned to jelly, didn't they? Amazing. They've even got some familiar names in the chat, which is nice to see. So this game on Sunday is bloody important from lots of different reasons, especially fan morale. And I think we've almost crossed a tipping point where we're already seen last couple of weeks a lot of fans getting on his back and losing their patience with him and saying he's got to go and stuff like that. And then they watched the game on Sunday, then watched the post-match presser, which I've got to say, I thought it was all right, the post-match presser. It showed that he's human and he got the ump. He got the ump. He was irritated, and when someone's irritated like that, to me, it says they care a little bit, right? They care what happened, and they're embarrassed by what happened. I don't think it was very professional. Got to say that. But when I watched the pre-match presser today, the first journalist who asked the question, she was from Sky. They're obviously on familiar terms because it was all smiles to begin with, and then she hit him with it. She said, God, bloody hell, you were a bit off colour on Sunday, weren't you? In the presser. And he said, well, you know, I do care. I was passionate. You know, he was only human. You know, I'm not really happy with it. But at the same time, you know, you get over it. A couple of hours later, you're okay. And then she pressed him further and said, but you were even touchy at the pre-match presser. Because I read the notes of my mate, the other journo, and he said that that you were tetchy. He said, "No, I wasn't tetchy. We had a lovely chat. And I can't remember that pre-match presser. I don't know, but he has been a bit tetchy. But I don't mind that as long as it ain't tetchy and bitchy for the sake of being bitchy. You remember the way Moyes, I hate bringing up Moyes, but you remember the way he used to have this air of arrogance about him, like you could not question anything about the great David Moyes and his decisions, right?
I'm still having nightmares about it now, mate.
Yeah, and that you remember he was the worst pundit ever because he started working for the radio in the internationals last summer.
Sport,
and they moved him on pretty quickly because he refused to criticise a manager ever, didn't he? He just would not. When they said, "What do you think the manager should have done?" He said, "Oh, that's up to the manager to decide that, not me." It's like, you're a fucking pundit, mate. Give an opinion. Yeah. That's actually quite right. He got tetchy today about being called tetchy last week and in the pre-match tetchiness as well. Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely.
Well, you're right, though, mate, because I kind of quite like to see that. It just showed a different side to his personality that, as you said, he cares. And I'm sick and tired of, you know, the same old spiel, you know, being knocked out by managers week after week. It's the same old crap, you know, like kind of football analogy bingo. You know, they say the same fucking shit every single week. So actually, I was quite happy to see him react that way because, you know, that reaction basically typifies how we all feel as supporters as well. You know, you had Walker doing it the week before. You've got Potter doing it, obviously, last week. It just goes to show that not all is right at West Ham. Clearly, it's a little bit fucking disjointed in that team. The chemistry, the way we're playing, everything, it's not right. And that just shows. So I'd much rather see him, you know, be interviewed like that, as opposed to, oh yeah, we got things to work on. Yeah, there's some positives. No, I'm like he said, tired of all that bollocks. Let's just focus on the fact that we were shit. We need to improve moving forward, right? I didn't see any positives out of last week, mate. I don't. You know, it all goes to shit. If you can see 2 goals in the last sort of like 5 minutes or whatever, then there are no positives. Simple as that.
Well, at least he didn't do a Moyes and offer to slap the female journalist, did he? For you know, you may be.
She was pushing him though, mate. She was definitely pushing him, weren't she?
She was.
When I was watching that, I was like, "Fucking hell, love! Like, what you come here for? You know, what are you here for? Just to kind of wind the geezer up?"
Yeah.
But I mean.
I think what he reacted to last week more than anything, and I think this is what would have pissed off all the journalists, right? Is he went into a bit of a strop, and they said to him, let's talk about a few positives, because there were positives. He said, I don't want to talk about positives. What's the point in talking about positives? No one wants to hear it. And that was like his way of shutting the journos down, right? Refusing to have the conversation with them.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I say, I don't begrudge him from doing that. I think it was like he said, he's a human being, right? He's going to react in a certain way. So totally get it.
I hope Randy's not sticking up for the Spurs. You can't blame supporters, I suppose, with the lack of tickets after everything that's happened this season. But ultimately, the board, are responsible for that. No, it's not. Yeah, absolutely. By the way, there were tickets available for this Spurs game. Someone told me earlier that they had a spare ticket. They've been advertising everywhere. Couldn't sell it.
I've seen loads of them going. I've seen loads of them going around, and I think there's also there's some problems on the trains as well, going in from sort of like Essex into Stratford. So I don't know if that's has an impact for some people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the thing, mate. It's a fucking London derby against Spurs. You'd expect that there's no tickets going around. It's like gold dust. But if you want one, you can certainly pick one up. They wouldn't be that hard to get hold of.
No, you're right. Obsidian says I've seen enough sci-fi movies to know that people who keep saying they're only human actually ain't. That's right. True. Very true. What are the chances of JWP? I'll give you 10 to 1 on that he's going to start, right? So that's very favourable. It's 1 to 10.
Don't say that. I can't. I just I
he's starting. Who are you kidding? Of course he's starting. First name on the team sheet.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. You know, I look at this game, right? You said something right at the beginning of this show. You said that, you know, Spurs always say that this is West Ham's cup final, right? I'm going to actually agree for the first time ever and say, you know what, for me, this is our cup final. This is as good as it gets for us now this season. Playing against Spurs at home is to finish above them, because it's been such a shit season. No, genuinely, Gal, it's been such a shit season. I'm actually really excited about this game. Can't believe it. But even after all of this shit that we've been dealt, you know, with this season, I'm actually really looking forward to it. And for me, this is absolutely a fucking cup final. This is my cup final. I don't care what anyone says. I want us to beat Spurs.
This is the El Crapio. This is the El Crapio, the battle for fourth from bottom in the Premier League.
El Crapico. Yeah, mate. Honestly, I am so desperate for us to win this game. And if Tottenham turn around and say, oh, yeah, it's your cup final, it's fucking equally as much their cup final as ours, because they could finish below us. So do not tell me for 1 second that they're going to be happy with that.
So right? The problem is we're only semi-finals. We get to an actual cup final, right?
Yeah, but I couldn't give a fuck about it. Yeah, but it don't matter. No, it don't matter, because they won it yet. They won it yet.
So this ain't their cup final this time, right? It usually would be. But Jason can't see Spurs playing their first team, which is exactly what they did when they got slaughtered by Liverpool last week. They rested a few players. So odds are, I mean, I would probably, because there's no danger of relegation, I would want, and if I was Spurs, which I will never be, I would want him to rest some players and focus on getting a result in that semi-final and get into a chance of some silverware, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, but look at it this way. They've got players that are out anyway, so they're kind of a bit hamstrung already. So they've got, I think, the game that they played the other day against Bodo Glimt. So Solanke went down injured. Madison's also out as well. They've got Bergvall, who I think left home on crutches. And you've got Son, who's also out. So actually, they've got 4 key players that are out for this game. So if you look at what their lineup potentially could be, it's definitely not their strongest team. Definitely not. Yeah. So actually, I think we've got every chance. We've got every chance to beat these guys. So yeah, I don't think that. I think you say rest players. I don't think they've got a fucking choice, mate.
So 1,700 tickets available. I don't think it's going to be empty, Darren. 1,700 is like a drop in the ocean in that place. Yeah. But the people who don't turn up, listen, it's Spurs. I think even the likes of me, who's pretty much given up, I'm going to turn up for Spurs. Of course I am. Of course I am. You'd have to have a heart of stone not to turn up.
Man, honestly, I'm feeling the buzz now, right? I genuinely think there's going to be a bit of an atmosphere this weekend. I do. And I do feel as if we're going to come out the traps for this one, because even though I've said this like week after week, that I think the players are down tools a bit, they're already on the beach. This is probably the one, if only game, for the remainder of this season, I do firmly believe they will show up on Sunday. I do. And if they don't, then I'm going to be absolutely livid, but I do believe that they will.
We've got to, and I believe they will as well. No Bowen up top, for fuck's sake, it doesn't work. No, that we want to see the striker start. We definitely do. P1 Travel are in trouble with the club for selling tickets cheaper than the club. Well, legal tout's going to sell, aren't they? They're going to sell. That's so they're competing. They're actively competing with the club for the tickets. Amazing.
I don't know, mate.
So you couldn't make it up. But if you hire an outsourcing company, that outsourcing company are going to make profit however they can, right?
Yeah, of course they are, mate.
So it is what it is. That's what you get for hiring so-called legal touts. Let's get down to the bottom of these comments. So look, the way Spurs play, as we know, is a very, very aggressive press, and they take risks. They take risks because that is what they're told to do. Now, there are plenty of ways you can combat that. Firstly, let's hope they haven't got their first choice midfield out there, which they probably won't have due to injury and resting some players for the game next week. And so because of that, hopefully, we're not going to be in too much danger in the middle, but I would still be looking to play Alvarez for this one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly 100%.
Peterson says here.
They're saying that he's got a back problem. I don't buy it. I think it's a problem that he's got with the manager. I've not really, so I really don't know whether he'll play again. It'll be quite telling. If he's dropped again this weekend and not even on the bench, then I think he's pretty much done at West Ham, Gal.
I agree.
I would like to see him start. Absolutely. I think he needs to. For this type of game, as Kat kind of says, you want that kind of like that fucking dog, that holding role that's going to snap everyone. That's what you want.
War. What we need is as well. What we need to see as well is for the Man United the week after Man United game. Will he suddenly declare himself fit for that? Will he?
Well,
because that was where he wanted to go. Don't forget, it's where he wanted to go.
Yeah, it was, but it's a different manager there now, so I don't think he's necessarily on their radar, is he?
Could bode well for the away trip though if we go up there and a few of our players really turn up like they did against Liverpool. Because if they do, we're going to turn them over.
What, Man United?
Yeah.
I just don't even know anymore, Gal. I don't even know what to expect from West Ham. This is the only game where I feel that I'm confident that we'll be up for it.
Yeah.
That's it.
If Fulkrug doesn't start, Daniel Neal says, do you think we'll get a win? I don't think he's strictly related to Fulkrug starting that we'll get a win or not. I mean, I can understand the strategy of Potter. I don't agree with it, but I can understand the strategy. And the strategy in the first half was to keep the ball and have good possession and present them with few opportunities, and then to bring on Fulkrug against slightly tired legs in the second half. And it sort of almost worked. It almost worked. But we did let in that sloppy goal in the first half as well, and it was particularly uninspiring in the first half because of lack of an outlet up front. So for me, the second half, the way we were put together was a lot better. But if you look at the stats, we were also much more open in the second half and conceded many, many, many more chances. Right. It's a balancing act. What do you want to do? I can see why he does it. I don't think the playing a striker up front is a be all and end all. You can just use him for one half, and arguably he might do more damage in the second half. I don't know, because Spurs are going to tire, aren't they? Because they've just played Thursday night. They're going to tire.
I mean, I disagree, Gal. I think Fulkrug needs to start.
I do. What I'm saying is it the end of the world if he doesn't? Do you think we've lost if he doesn't?
Well, no. Okay, so I think you've got to look at. I've got mosquitoes flying around here. You've got to look at the mentality of this, though, Gal, because as fans, if you turn up and you see that Fulkrug's not starting, fuck off. If you see that Fulkrug's not starting, you're naturally going to think fuck straight away, like you will do. We need a striker to play against Spurs from the start. I do not want to see him coming on at half time. He has absolutely got the fitness and the capability to be starting that game now. So I don't want to see any excuses like it's not the end of the world. Well, it is the fucking end of the world. We're playing Spurs. Yeah. In our cup final, Gal, in their cup final, we need to play. We need to play Fulkrug. We need to start him.
Have you ever seen it Shilton's a BFG before? Because I haven't. I really like that. BFG. Big fucking German.
Yeah.
Claire has put her foot down and stamped her authority, and that is we do not do personal insults on this page. No, we don't, Claire. Well done. She's being mean tonight. Very mean.
Don't have it.
Yeah. I just want him to kick their strikers off the park. Okay. Yes, I would like to see that as well, especially Son. Get hold of him early on because he's the one.
Son, he ain't playing, mate. He's injured.
Is he not? Ah, brilliant. Because he's been doing. Yeah, but once again, he's continued playing. This shows how much I watch other teams, doesn't it? Not at all.
I watch loads of other football, and I genuinely do. I mean, as annoying as it sounds, I mean, I was watching fucking Spurs the other night. That's how bad it's gotten for me this season. That's how bored I am at West Ham watching other teams play. But
as long as you never have a physical reaction in any way, shape, or form when a goal goes in for Spurs, that's fine, Chris.
What do you mean a physical reaction?
I mean a happy physical reaction. As long as that never happens, you know.
I might be physically sick if I see a goal going. But no, they're going to play that fucking Brazilian geezer up front. You know, chickenhead, Richarlison, the guy that Eddie Aluko, you know, 19 games in 42 games. You know, you do the math. That's 1 goal a game. So yeah,
Andy Armit says Alvarez was training this week, so maybe he's on his way back for the Spurs.
Well, I think it'd be a major positive if he is, because we need him in the middle of the park. Drop James Ward-Prowse, stick Alvarez in that holding role, mate. Get him in there. Get him in there.
The difficulty is, of course, Alvarez. You know, who do you play alongside Alvarez? I mean, for me in this game, it's got to be hard workers. He's good at retaining possession and bugger all else. Ward-Prowse, that's what he does. He's like a metronome that's running really slowly, right? So as long as the tempo is really slow, he's great for you. But if you're trying to play with a slightly quicker tempo, he's just going to slow it down. He doesn't play a forward pass ever. He only plays the ball side to side. He's a very disappointing footballer, I think.
Paqueta and Souček in that midfield, if Alvarez is playing, that's what I would like to see. Paqueta, Souček with Alvarez behind. I know people are probably questioning Souček really, but yeah, I would, because I think for this type of game, I would definitely get him in there.
This is a really good point, Chris. And that is from Jason. He says, if Ange was our manager and we were in 17th, we'd be just as angry with the way Ange plays. I totally agree with that point. Let us know what you think in the chat, because you remember people were saying when we had Moyes, I'd rather lose 5-4 and play well than to win a game 1-0 that's boring. I disagree. I don't want boring to be a habit, but I don't want to lose either. Football's about winning.
Yeah, but I suppose you'd probably be on the edge of your seat a little bit more watching Ange ball than you would be watching Potter ball, or not.
Do you remember that game when they played Chelsea, where they had a couple of players, 3 players, I think, sent off, and they ended up throwing men forward still? They still went for it.
I do remember that, yeah.
And they got applauded off the pitch, and I thought, fucking hell, that's going to last 10 minutes. That is going to last 10 minutes. And lo and behold, it is. They're calling him Fat Ange now.
It's a throwback, mate. I mean, it's a throwback from the 90s when you would just go for games, right? You would still do it. And I kind of admire it in a way, but if they were doing it consistently every single week, it would piss me off. Of course it would do. If you're losing games like, you've got to be clever, because you can go gung-ho like Ange does, play a high line or whatever. But if he's like 2 up, try and defend your lead a little bit. Don't keep going. But he doesn't seem to do that, which, look, I've got no problem with that, because hopefully that might give us an opportunity. I just hope that we don't sit back too much, because it's going to be so boring if we do. We have to play 4, not a 5. We've got to go for them this weekend.
Well, I think it depends what team they put out for a start. I think I want to go for it. Give me a choice. That's what I'll do. But I'm going to try and understand the motivation behind what he does. So, Chris, were you attacked by the whole of the Mosquito squadron?
Yeah, do you know? Yeah, I saw that comment. I don't know what it is in my little cabin, right? So I come in here, and there's like all these mosquitoes by the window. So I tried to get them out. I've tried to get them out of here before, went live. But there's still a few floating around. I can see them after me. I've got sweet blood as well, gal. So they're gunning for me, little gits.
It's very, very sweet and tasty. I understand, Chris. He's telling all his mates about you. Got some dessert in that shed down there.
Honestly, they're all fucking. I can
Why
see
don't you
it.
get yourself saying and sort them out? You got to sort them out.
Mate, what do you need to fucking get a baseball bat? I literally came in
your garden, Chris. I've got a net up at my front thing there, my front door. Nothing in here. Nothing. Clear air.
It's the first time. It's the first time I've seen mosquitoes in here, Gal. I've never seen them in here before.
See,
I've never seen.
Fail to prepare to fail, Chris. That's what
I'm having a bit of a shitty day today, right? Do you know what happened to me earlier on? I've got to say this. I went to the dentist for a checkup, and this guy comes in. He's a lovely guy, my dentist, really nice guy. Oh, how you doing, Chris? Sit down, relax and stuff. And I don't like dentists. I'm a little bit of I'm not really nervous and worried about too many things, but I don't like the dentist. I've never
hate it. Go on.
And so I'm sitting down there. I've got my mouth open. He's looking and he's like, oh yeah, no, looking very good. Like, you know, I was, oh, I'm quite pleased with this. Anyway, like in my eye, I'm looking at him and I can see this bit of saliva, like literally by his mouth.
No,
right?
No.
Listen, right? It's by his mouth.
No.
Like, fuck, what do I do in this situation? Like, I've got my mouth wide open. I can't talk to the geezer.
No.
So I'm like, oh, and it's like fucking slow motion. And then you know what happened, right? He bends over.
It didn't happen.
The fucking saliva dropped and went bang, like there on my eyelid. In my fucking eyelid, right?
I'd say I'd rather have it there. If it drops in my mouth, I'd spew.
No, that would have been but in my eyelid. And I was like, what do you do in that situation? Because you can't turn around and say, oh fuck, you got tissue, like you just fucking spat in my eye, right? So I didn't, because I felt like that would be rude to him and maybe he would be embarrassed. So I styled it out. I was kind of like, oh God, and I can feel the blob of saliva on my eyelid, Gal. I was so disgusted. And then
he's got no self-awareness.
I know, honestly.
Zanussi should know better. Seriously, why does Chris keep calling you Gail? It's not Gail. It's as Claire says, it's Gal, as in short for Gary. That's all. Gal. I've been called it since I was a kid, right? Every Gary gets called it, right? Yeah. So look, sort yourself out, Zanussi, for Christ's sake. Good at stats, not very good at the way Cockneys speak. Dangerous Cockneys. I wonder if Northern Garys get called Gal. I bet they do.
Gal. You don't like Gaza, do you? You don't like.
I don't like Gaza. It's got too many connotations, isn't it? Right?
It has. Yeah, it has.
There you go. Short for Gary, says Trent. Yes, it is.
There you go.
That is disgusting. What, Gary? No, the spit thing. Yes, of course.
It was pretty rank.
Yeah, that is Barry. That is. Yeah.
Mate, I could see it in slow motion. It was so weird. It's like time just stood still, and I could just see it. I was like, "That's going to hit me. I know it's going to hit me. There's no other way this is going to play out. It's going to either go in my mouth or on my face." And I actually thought when I'm watching it drop, Gal. It's dropping. I could see it. Like, no, yeah, but I thought it was going to go in my eye. In the eye would have been bad, right? But it was on the eyelid, so I kind of got away with it. But fucking hell, man.
Well, no, the eye you can tolerate as long as it weren't the mouth, Chris. That's the thing. I draw the line there. And Gal from Coronation Street. That is what everyone when you call someone Gail, that's what they think of. Gail Platt from Coronation Street.
Gail
Platt. Yeah.
I can't think of many other Gails, to be honest with you. Gail Porter. That's about it.
Yeah, Gail Porter.
Gail, who else was there? Yeah, no, Gail's not very. It's not a very common name, is it? Gail.
What was her stage in Coronation Street? What was her character's name? Gail Tilsley, wasn't it? Gail Tilsley. That's right.
I've never watched honestly, Coronation Street, mate. No, it's never my cup of tea.
You're right, Obsidian. It's a cheap dentist. He needs to go to a more expensive one. It sounds like a very dodgy one. A flawed dentist.
He's good. He's very good, but
shouldn't be dropping saliva all over you in your eyes and stuff.
They should be wearing. Here's the thing, right? It's like like during COVID times when everyone was walking. Well, there's a lot of people walking around masks, but they had it on their chins. So there's no purpose of them actually wearing the mask in the first place. My dentist had a mask on today, but it's on his fucking chin. So what's the point of wearing a mask if you're going to stick it on your chin for? Like, what are you doing? Is your beard going to fall off? I don't know what he's doing.
I know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a fashion statement. He can't do it. It messes with his style. Now, Darren, this is exactly the point, right? People only started calling me Gaza when fucking Paul Gascoigne appeared on the scene. You never heard Gaza before that. And then suddenly you got Bazza, Kaza, Lazar. Everyone was shortened to Azza. Right, that's what it was in my office anyway.
What about Gaz? Straight up Gaz.
It's better than Gaza. It's better than Gaz.
Gaz, how you doing, son? You all right, Gaz?
Listen, I'll just answer to anything. Call me what you like. I don't care. Right, what else we got here? Gale Force. That's it. Gale Force. But that ain't spelt like that. It's Gale, isn't it?
Yeah, I think there's two. I don't know. I think that you can spell it both ways, actually.
I'm not a Corrie fan, but I was forced to watch it when we only had 3 channels in my house and 1 telly, and we all had to sit in the front room. You remember the time when we were all forced to watch Dallas, right? And JR, and became as obsessed with Dallas as the grown-ups. That was me. That was me. I loved fucking JR, and
I also watched that as
Cliff
well.
Barnes.
I did watch that as well. I also ended up by default watching Dynasty because I think my mum used to watch Dynasty.
I never watched that shit.
I did. I watched that shit as well, mate. Honestly, I watched some right old shit. You didn't have a choice back in the day, man. There's like fucking 3 channels.
Yeah, to watch.
It is what it is. Yeah, exactly.
You know what my dad used to do, because we didn't have a video or anything, right? But when we lived in Varden Street, so no video, 1 telly, nowhere else to watch the football. So Saturday night, match of the day. I want to watch match of the day, right? Of course I do. My dad wants to watch match of the day as well. He would rather miss the beginning of the match of the day than play this on me every Saturday night. And that was just as the theme tune started, right, it'd say, "Make a quick cup of tea." Right.
Brilliant.
And I must admit it worked, because in the end I was making a cup of tea without him asking. Yeah, it was just
it's like a sort of like Pavlovian in his dogs, wasn't it? You know, when you're teaching them classical conditioning. So when you hear match of day, Gazza gets up and makes a cup of tea. Here you go, Dad. Yeah. Very good training, that is.
Yeah.
But it was nice though, Gav. Those days were really good because, you know, like when you had your 3 channels, you'd really look forward to a program on at a certain time. You would, wouldn't you? But nowadays, like, there's no like luxury. There's nothing like, you know, what should I watch? You're flicking through all these fucking channels. There's so much on. You end up watching nothing, or you just end up fucking surfing for an hour trying to figure something out to watch. Now that looks better than that. Now actually that looks better than that. And then about an hour and a half later, you're like, do you know what? I'm too tired. I'm going to bed now.
This is why I reckon back in the day, because there was no live football, I reckon this is why when a team was playing in Europe, we all supported that team, because, you know, like when Forest playing Europe and stuff like that, there was like one of the very few live games on TV outside the cup finals. And so you watched them and you kind of, I remember watching Ipswich's games and Nottingham Forest and Liverpool and everything. And even Spurs, when I won the UEFA Cup in 1982, you know, I didn't hate Spurs so much back then, you know, didn't like them, but didn't hate them.
Man, I'm going to put it out there. I fucking hate Spurs. I know we all hate, but I really fucking hate Spurs. So again, I'm going to repeat what I've said earlier on. This is Chris's cup final this Sunday, right? I'm bang up for this one. I'm going to have my fucking camera out. I'm going to be vlogging. I'm honestly, I'm well excited about this game on Sunday. I
got to say though, Chris, I went to school in Stepney primary school. It was different in secondary school in Bethnal Green, but in the primary school, we used to do games and we used to play football, and everyone used to wear the football kit that they had, right? Their team's football kit generally. So it was a mishmash of different things. It was a lot of West Ham there. There was a little sprinkling of Arsenal, and there was probably 2 Spurs. And but it was around Liverpool domination time, right? So quite a few Liverpool fans, but not many. It was largely London clubs, London clubs. And so back then we kind of rubbed along together all right. There wasn't that sort of hatred and antagonism towards Spurs, Arsenal. There was no Chelsea. There was not a Chelsea shirt in sight. I mean, definitely not a Man City, that's for sure. There was like one Man United, from what I remember. A small handful of Liverpool because of Glory Hunters. And but other than that, just the, you know, West Ham, Spurs and Arsenal, clubs. But mainly West Ham.
Yeah. No, it was like that. It was. But nowadays it's totally different, isn't it? You just got like fans from, well, at least I think it is. I don't go to school anymore, but I do think you find there are a lot of kids that do support teams that are based up north, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Bloody Newcastle, when Newcastle were up with Keegan and looking like they were going to win the league, I drove past the playground. There was a couple of kids running around in bloody Newcastle shirts. Right? Can you believe that? How ridiculous is that? Well, how do their parents? Their parents got no standards.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's disgusting, mate. It's disgusting. So do you know what? What was his comment here? I just said from Trudge. I think it was
by the way, Jared's been on EastEnders.
Yeah, he was. I don't watch EastEnders anymore, but it was he was on EastEnders. He was on a phone giving a message to one of the characters on there.
Yeah,
I don't watch EastEnders anymore, but yeah, that was his appearance basically. Yeah.
I don't see your point, Trudge. This is Spurs. We don't like Spurs. Don't really give a fuck what Spurs think. I don't care at all what Spurs think. Whether they're not up for it, whether they're prioritizing cover. I want to win this fucking game.
Yeah, but I would also. But I'd also disagree with that, because you tell me any Spurs fan that would be okay losing against West Ham on Sunday. They are not going to fucking.
They'll be laughing at us.
Of course they will. We beat you in the cup final. But equally, if we beat them and we go above them and they're literally in 17th, yes, I know they've got a semi-final and potentially still going to go into this, the final of the Europa League. But they don't want to lose that game, man. That's embarrassing. If you're a Spurs fan and you're finishing below West Ham and you're in 17th place, that's embarrassing. I'm sorry. Either way. So I think Spurs will look at this and think, we don't want to lose that game. Not another. We can't. I mean, seriously, look at the record that Spurs have got in a minute, right? So I've got their stats up here. It's fucking awful, mate.
You're pushing this line, Trudge, about no one's bothered and you're not bothered and everything else. But I think there's a lot of people are bothered. This is Spurs.
I'm bothered. If the season didn't play out the way it did, I would be less bothered. I'd still be bothered. But
this, I'm mildly excited for this game, right? I won't say very, but I'm mildly excited. And if we come away from there with a win, I'm going to be walking on air for a few days, just because, well, firstly, we've won a game again, and secondly, because it put Spurs to bed and put them in a bad mood for their second leg of their semi-final.
Exactly. That's that. Exactly. So that's the way I look at it. It's not just about us getting the 3 points and going above them in the league. It's also about fucking them over and hopefully injuring a few of their players before they're semi.
Also, they might have nothing to play for. We've got a huge amount to play for. We need to fucking get some pride back after these last few games. Those players need to win some pride back. All right. There's nothing riding on this game at all apart from pride.
If you look at both teams right now in terms of their form, it's absolutely awful. It's almost identical, right? So we've got 3 points from 6 games. They've got 3 points from 6 games. This for them, if they lose against us this weekend, that will be the 4th straight Premier League defeat for them in a row, right? I mean, that's pretty bad. And also, it would be their 5th successive top flight loss in a row.
We've won 2 more games than them this season.
Well, I mean, yeah, it doesn't. Well, it would surprise me because you can see where we all are, right? But But yeah, I mean, honestly, so of course, if you're a Spurs fan and you look at that, I mean, the only time they've got a win recently has been against Bodo Glimt or whatever it was in the previous game. Aside from that, they've got 1 win, 3 points out of 6 games. That's absolutely woeful.
I'm not giving up on West Ham yet. I've invested heavily for next season, right? I'm expecting a damn fine relegation battle next year, right? In comfort as well.
And you're going to get the best view of it as well, Gal. You're going to get the best view of it from the dugout near to Potter. You're going to experience it all, mate. You're going to get it all.
Yeah, I think that this will be quite. Yeah, I think it won't matter to Man United because winning the Europa League, Randy, they won it a few years ago. It matters not to Man United. It's not a big cup to them, right? But I think they will win it. It'll just be another.
Disagree, Gal. Disagree with you there, mate. Sorry, that means everything to them because look where they are in the league. If they win the Europa League, they're in the Champions League next season. This is massive for them.
That's true.
Massive for them.
Yeah, I forgot about that. So might be doing what I'm thinking. If Man U win, I can see the West Ham article now. Sullivan turns down Amorim because of ambition. Yeah. Well, it wasn't because of ambition. It was because of it was because of Sullivan's ambition or lack thereof, right? That's what.
And Will Salthouse, basically,
Yeah. Of course. And we wait excitedly to see what those fuckers are going to do in the summer. Great show, by the way. Couple of shows actually by Gio this week. I watched a couple more YouTube shows about drawing attention to Sullivan and all the nonsense about the PFR. Us having no money and all that, it don't add up. They treat you like imbeciles when they write. When I say they, I mean the likes of Whetstone and Co. When they've got a message to give out from Sullivan. We got no money, Sean. Tell him we got no money, Sean. And he goes out and he drags up. We spent 150 million last summer. Plus we've got to pay 40 million for Todibo, as if that was a surprise. And they've got to sell before they buy. Well, as if they've actually just paid that 150 and now another 40 out the door, just like that, because that's why people think it works. Sadly, people are not considering that all of the millions that were wiped off of that will be wiped off next year's finances with people moving away on high wages. The fees that will come in, that's just from people who are leaving, like Ings, right, and Zuma and people like that. And then you on top of that you've got the fees coming in. But that 150 million, we did not just pay 150 million. The way a deal works, if it's a 30 million deal, for instance, you pay 20% up front, so that'd be $6,000, and then you pay the rest annually over the term of the contract. So if it's a 5-year deal, the remaining 24 grand will be spanned over the remaining 5 years of deal. That is affecting 6 different financial years.
Yeah, it's paid on the drip, isn't it? That's exactly how it's done nowadays. Yeah, of course it is.
And it's a load of PFR. Yeah, but it's all PFR cares about is the last 3 financial years, right? And whether you've lost more than a certain amount. So when you work it out like that, I do need to have some time to sit down and look at it properly. But even the the football expert Kieran Maguire says that we've got money, or should have. Yeah, so it's all falling on deaf ears and it's bullshit. And it was good to see someone else pointing the finger at Sullivan because he's at fault for everything.
Everything. Come on. You can't tell me for 1 second that you honestly believe that Sullivan wouldn't come out and say we haven't got money. It was inevitable. Of course he was going to say that. Of course he was going to fucking say that.
I'll tell you what, Darren, if we beat Spurs Sunday, I will have a drink on the show Sunday night. Right, I will. I promise.
You're not going to get the cigs. You're not going to get the ciggies out, mate, because we've both quit now. I can't.
I get the vape out though. Get the vape out, right? So yes, I don't think I think the next 2 games are perfectly winnable, at home to Spurs and away to Man United. Man United, you know, they don't really, the players, it's player power at Man United that's causing all the problems. We all know it. It ain't really Amorim. And so, but they are where they are at the moment. Until they do something about that in the summer, they are where they are. And that's the squad of players they've got, right? Sadly, though, I do think the Spurs could beat them in the final.
Yeah, it's such a tough one to call because you're talking about two pretty crappy teams in the final, basically. Two teams that are pretty much, there or thereabouts in the same positions in the league. It's a real tough one to call, but I reckon maybe Man United. I hope they edge it. Honestly, I'll be I wouldn't put it out. I'm so pissed if Spurs win that, honestly.
That was the other thing. Sorry, just on this, right? On Sullivan says the same every summer. On that other thing about they acted surprised because there was a news article that came out that said West Ham devastated by news that they have to pay 30 million or something for Todibo, right? No, that's already accounted for. It's already in the books for the next several years. We ain't going to hand over 30 or 40 million for Todibo. We don't settle up because he's had a good trial. You know what I mean?
I know. It's mental. This is all planned and budgeted for beginning of last season. A load of nonsense.
It as if that's fact. And I also don't believe that they budgeted for 11th place either. Not after a big rebuild with a new manager who Sullivan must have known might struggle. I don't buy any of it, Chris.
No, I don't either. But I'm used to it by now because he says the same shit all the time. So it doesn't surprise me.
He does believe that we're stupid, we're thick, and unfortunately, when people just read the headlines or read a tweet from Sean and think it's real, there are several other people out there just passing on fucking Sullivan's opinions as well. I won't mention who because he's a known one. Sean is the famous for doing it. And what he'll do is he used to get an actual kick out of winding fans up and getting them to bite. And I just do not get what you get as a West Ham fan out of pissing off other West Ham fans.
Mate, it's the very reason why I don't watch YouTube, funnily enough. I've not been watching really any of it. So I'd like you. I do look at the thumbnails and stuff because I'm subscribed to a few of the other channels, but I watch just not been watching it.
I watch positive stuff because
I watch Hammer's chat. I like Hammer's chat, but but it ain't because I don't want to watch anything because someone's being miserable. But I just don't want it. Look, I've got a lot on at work, a lot going on in life. If I'm going to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes watching a video, I want it to be enjoyable. I don't want it to get me all fucking down and depressed. So I don't. I just stick to the positive ones. It's not because I feel particularly positive, but I would much rather feel positive. Hey, look, I get it. Like sometimes I used to like watching some of the channels where they go off on one and stuff. Like when you see West Ham Fan TV and they do some interviews like post match with some of the fans and they go off on one. It was quite a good viewing, but it kind of does get to a point sometimes where the last thing you need is to fucking hear all of that noise and that ranting. It's just like, fuck me. It's just making me feel worse. Tell me something I don't already know.
Do you know what I mean? Don't tell me what I already know louder.
Make me feel even fucking worse. You don't, I can't, it just does my head in. It really does. I get why people are upset. I totally get it because I'm not happy. Of course I'm not. How can you be happy this season?
No.
But I'm just like, like I said before, fuck this season. Spurs this weekend. That for me is... That's about as much as I'm looking forward to now.
I think maybe United for me. No. I think for me, the Jason, this comment's really, really pertinent because I think the improvement you've seen of Wolves has probably been the biggest improvement in the Premier League.
Yeah, they've been very good. They have.
Yeah, so they're very, very good manager. That guy playing really, really good football with not the biggest budget in the world, right?
I know. I know.
Garino's now needs colours to mask. Spurs will lose. That's right, Garino too. Bodo Glimt. Come on, you Glints.
Come on, you Glints. I love that. I'm going to watch that game next week, and I'm really hoping. I take the first goal in that game is crucial. If they score the first goal, it's game on. I'm going to be excited.
Oh, fuck.
What?
They'll have their best players player back, and they'll be playing on a plastic pitch. Oh, Spurs are in the shit.
No, really,
no, they are. We always struggle on plastic pitch. They're going to get fucked. They're going to get fucked. Sorry,
I wouldn't get too excited about it yet.
I'm getting excited already. I'm going to watch.
I mean, Bodo Glimt's best players. Who are their best players, Gal? I mean, seriously, I've not heard of them.
Well, it's Freddie Mykonos and John Abifa.
Top player. Yeah. Gary Goals. That thing I said the other day. Gary Goals up front. Yeah.
This is the thing, right? Now, forgive me for getting optimistic, but everything rests on this Sunday. If we beat Spurs at home there's a bit more of a positive news and mood, even though many will say it's only Spurs and they had half a team out, right? If you don't beat them, who are you going to beat, right? So there's always a passive aggressive counter argument, right? Then we go to Man United. Even when Man United are shit, we lose to them generally up there. So let's go up there and beat them as well. Then 2 out of 2. Then we're playing Forest, and I spoke with a Forest fan tonight just before I finished work, and he said to me they've completely bottled it and gone to pot.
Yeah, Fred said that to me last night. I think they lose last night. I think they are. Well, they're bottling it. Obviously, it's the business end of the season, but you know what it's like, Gal. We're the type of team that will say, we'll do them a favour. We probably will end up doing them a favour. I don't think that game's going to be. Well, I don't think it's going to be easy, but I don't think it's a game where I feel confident we're going to get 3 points. Yeah, I don't. I think they're going to be. Don't forget, it's the last remaining few games of the season, so they're going to want to throw everything into it. They're going to leave nothing behind. So I think that's going to be a tough one.
But Chris, they'll be out of it by then. Now,
will they?
Well, no. Now here's the thing: if we beat Spurs and then we go to Man United, we win there. That's the only two. That's the only conditions that I would be going to the Forest game, because I'll start believing again. Because you know me, right?
Believing in what?
Believing in that the players are not disgrace.
All right,
not disgracing themselves. Yeah. The reason I weren't going to go to Forest, by the way, or probably is still not going to go to Forest or Ipswich.
You're going to Forest, mate. You are going to Forest.
Well, no, I don't know, because the reason is I know they're going to turn up against Spurs and Man United because they're part of the Sky Big Six, if you like, and they'll want to put themselves in the shop window like they did against Liverpool. Having said that, and I've got to be fair, I have been digging out Paqueta quite a bit, and the fact is he has been playing quite well.
He has been playing. He's probably been one of our better players in recent weeks, for sure.
Yeah.
He has. He definitely has.
But what I'm saying, Chris, is it worth putting a tenner on West Ham to win the last 4 games?
No. That's ridiculous, mate. Just give me the tenner, mate. I'll make more use of it than that. That's ridiculous. I mean, you'd saying that Forest are out of it.
I'm going to do an accumulator, Chris.
Yeah, but that's how many games have we fucking won this season? You're talking about winning the last 4 in a row.
It would be an unlikely accumulator.
Are you all right, mate? You had a drink this afternoon or something? You think we're going to win the last 4 games?
Chris, I feel it.
Man, I don't know what's going on with you.
It's coming, Chris. It's coming home.
Going back to your point, saying that Forest are out of it, mate. They're 6th on 60 points. They are not out of it. Seriously, they're 2 points away from 4th.
I'm merely passing on what one of their fans who goes to see them says. He says they're bottled it. They're shit at the moment.
Man, the league table doesn't lie. If they can get a result off of us and maybe some, 1 or 2 of it, they're right up there and they're competing. And I would firmly believe that. They're going to be thinking to themselves, right, lads, we've got a couple of games left in the season. We have to fucking give it our all, leave nothing behind, leave it all out there on a pitch, make sure we get 3 points. And West Ham is absolutely a game that they're going to be gunning for. Of course it is. Look where we are in the league. They would be expecting to beat us that day. They will.
Yeah, I think Barry Krishna's right here. Losing to Spurs could be the worst last nail in our coffin. A win lifts me regardless of anything else this season. I mean, look, winning football matches does make you feel better. It doesn't matter who it's against. Losing football matches makes you feel fucking miserable. So I just want to, I want to win the games that we should win, and really on paper we should be winning this, right? More good news from Garino, right? Bodo Glimt, whatever, have turned over several good teams at home this year. Europa League, Lazio 2-0, Olympiacos 3-0. There are no mugs at home on their plastic pitch, as were same could be said for Luton and QPR back in the day, and Oldham as well, who've done us 6-0.
No. I mean, I know it's not easy, but at the end of the day, you'd imagine that quality will prevail in that type of game. Bodo Glimt, I can't see that 3-1 deficit, man. That's going to be hard to turn around, even if you are playing at home on a plastic pitch. That's not going to be easy.
Early goal, Chris. Early goal. And then Spurs is, that Spurs are vulnerable. If you're talking about what Spurs could do to us, it's about, the high press and pace, isn't it? Pace and running and energy, and our defenders being badly positioned to get caught out. If we're very disciplined, then that won't happen, especially if they've got a slightly weakened team. But on the counter to that, they are very, very, more so than any other team, susceptible to a counter-attack, a good, concise counter-attack. We've got the man that can play the balls, and we've got the 2 players that can link onto those balls.
So here's the thing, right? We talk about the Spurs game at the weekend. What's your lineup? Okay, what is your lineup for this game? Because bearing in mind,
I can tell you,
we think this is my cup final. Okay, I'm putting out there, fuck you, all your Spurs fans saying it is my cup final. I don't care anymore.
I shall tell you.
Go on,
right?
go on, go
I
on. What
think
is the winning team, mate?
well,
The winning team
well,
with the winning formation.
well. Listen, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1, right? For sure. So 4 at the back. Aaron Wan-Bissaka on one side with Todibo and Kilman and I'd probably play Emerson in this, but I'd monitor him. And then I mean. Or will he get caught for pace? I don't know. No. Let's just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. Those 4 at the back to start with, and then the 2 in front of them. It would definitely be Alvarez would be one of them, and the other one would probably be. See, I don't like Souček playing with Alvarez, so it'd have to be probably Alvarez and Paqueta, or Alvarez and but he would be deep in that role, right? Or Alvarez and Soler.
Okay, so you're talking a midfield 3. So what? He's going to be the deep line midfielder, and he's going to have 2 in front of him, being Soler and Paqueta, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
No. We'd have 4 at the back, then we'd have Alvarez. So 4-2-3-1. We'd play with a pivot, or we could just play with Alvarez.
Oh, I don't want that double pivot bollocks, mate.
All
honestly.
right.
Oh no.
You can't just tell me I'm wrong, Chris.
No. But I know what you're saying. But you know, it never works though. This double pivot of fucking Souček in it.
Me team, mate. It's telling me it's shit. Anyway. It's all right. Then I'd go for. I'd go for Kudus left. I'd go for. No, in fact, I'd go for Paqueta left, Kudus central, Bowen right, and Füllkrug in front. That's what I'd do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What would you do,
mate? I would probably do the same, except for I would probably play
an extra man in midfield.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'm not going to. I don't want to do this double pivot thing because I think we sit too deep when we do that. So I want to play a back 4. So I'll play obviously Wan-Bissaka, Todibo, Kilman, and Emerson as a flat back. Well, I say flat back 4, but a back 4. I would play Alvarez sitting in front. Okay, so he's playing as a number 6, CDM, whatever you want to call it. And then I would probably play Paqueta and Thomas Souček, and then I would have Kudus wide left. I would have Bowen wide right and Füllkrug up front. Because the one thing that right, if you're going to play a striker like Füllkrug, you need to have wingers. You need to have wingers pinging in those crosses to him. So I think we do need to get Kudus and Bowen wide. I do think we need to do that. So I get your idea around Paqueta playing on the left-hand side, because I think he does play some of his best football there.
He comes in from there.
Yeah, he does, particularly when he's partnering up with Emerson as well on that left-hand side. So I think there is that. I would agree with you on that. But I'm not the biggest fan of Thomas Souček, but I feel like maybe he gives us more of an outlet and more of a possible goal threat than the.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that. And if we're looking at getting at their centre halves, and apparently they're going to be resting their first defence, and their second defence is like a bit susceptible to crosses. Füllkrug should have a lot of joy against them by himself. So if you add Souček into that mix, that could be a recipe for success.
Yeah. Thank you, Kat. Appreciate it. Although,
sorry, what was that?
I know Kat was just saying like she agrees with my genius team selection, but Steve here was saying, no, we normally agree, but not on Souček. Like I get it, because I think the Souček thing is a funny old one, because like I say it all the time, in terms of his weaknesses, his passing abilities, blah blah blah. But I think when we play against Spurs, he typically tends to play all right. But also, as long as he's not playing in the double pivot with Alvarez, then I'm okay with him playing a little bit further up, because I do feel that actually, when we do a bit of a high press, when we swing that ball into the box, if we're playing width, we're getting crosses in there. He has the ability to score with his head, like he did the other week. So
that's the reason I left him out. That's the reason I left him out, is because he's only got a couple of games left for us, right? I wanted to be fresh for the last couple, but I don't like to see him playing in the pivot with Alvarez. That's the only thing that drove that. I was umming and ahhing about whether Paqueta should play next to Alvarez, because that usually works. Now, talking of Everton and Souček, be yours next year. Scouser 66 at Everton here. I've seen Potter on Sky today in his press conference. What a car crash of an interview. The man can't handle any pressure. Potter is no good for the Hammers. You need better. Come on, mate.
Mate, you got Moyes, so
you'll be back on here. I'm going to pop across to one of your forums next year when he's boring your fucking ass off in your new stadium and you're playing twice as much.
You got a honeymoon period with Moyes in a minute, but
no, he ain't. They're drawing every game or losing.
Yeah, because that's the funny thing. Yeah. That's the funny thing, because everyone was like, "Yeah, they've been brilliant under Moyes," and they started. They really did. But recently, they're literally in and around us. They've not been stand. So it's starting to kind of. Do you know what I mean? Like
he put his system in place, and they've stopped with all that attacking nonsense, right?
Yeah,
they've stopped all that fucking flair stuff. Whoa.
But they were playing all right with him originally, though. I can't deny it. They were playing some
no, they
decent
were
football
playing
under him.
brilliant. But that's like when Will Prowse joined in his first game up at Brighton last year, or down at Brighton last year. He was superb. He was setting up goal chances left, right, and centre, assists. Fucking beautiful. Next game, fucking hell, he's playing with Souček.
Oh, no, do you know, I do want to ask a question to everyone in the chat on this, because are we saying categorically that James Ward-Prowse should start or be dropped tomorrow? What's everyone saying on this? Because my opinion, I do not want him anywhere near that first 11. I know you probably think the same as well, Gal. What's everyone in the chat saying? I'd love to know, because it can't be he shouldn't be starting, should he?
Sorry, who? I missed that bit.
JWP.
Oh, JWP. No, I don't think he should be starting. I find him really irritating now.
I want to know what everyone else says as well about it, because I feel like sometimes, is it just me? Because I know a lot of people are saying it as well, but then also equally, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, like, I saw someone on social media the other day, and they were banging on about the players they'd want to keep and sell. And this guy, I can't remember who it was, but he's got a load of followers, like thousands and thousands of followers.
Yeah.
And he was going through the list of players. He was like, James Ward-Prowse, I'll definitely keep. I'm like, what the fuck? What are you watching? Like,
it's funny. He's one of them players, you know, like Moisey used to get backed by every single pundit going, right? Well, it's the same with Will Prowse. They must have a similar agent, I was saying, because or be the same after dinner speaking network or something, because he always gets good reviews. Literally, he can do no wrong. He can do no wrong.
I don't get it though.
I don't think small matters, Trudge. To be honest, in that central midfield, when you remember Kante and everything else, but pace does. He's very slow. Not as slow as the likes of Souček. He can cover a little bit distance, short distance with a bit of pace, but it's the fucking deliberate shift in tempo when he gets the ball. We were early in that game last week. If you watch it back, trying to zip the ball around, and it wasn't just boring side to side. We were zipping it until it got to him, and then he'd take 2 touches, look up, pass the ball, fucking tempo gone. And that is, he must be watching that Potter thinking, for fuck's sake, because his teams did zip the ball around quickly in midfield. They did not do it slowly like that.
The thing with JWP is, he's obviously a lot better than what he's been showing in recent weeks and months since he's been back. But I don't know, is it an instruction from Potter to play this way? It just doesn't make sense to me, because like, he's not fucking Iniesta or anything. You know what I mean? All these little passes, but he just has no idea of getting the ball forward. He's just like, as soon as he gets the ball passed, but his pass completion rate is probably amazing. It's probably like 100%, because he only ever passes backwards and sideways. So I never see a progressive pass going forward. And that's my problem with him, is that what's the point of him playing there? I don't get that. Just give it to a fucking centre half and they can play it around at the back. Why do you need him doing that?
This is interesting, right? I saw a training video release, because it's not a sort of training video release if it's a bit embarrassing. It sounds embarrassing, where Paqueta just fucking ran through JWP, man versus boy. Yeah, and that's the sort of thing that so the players must know that he's a featherweight. He's James Ward-Mouse, as someone calls him. He really hasn't got any. There's no steel, is there? I mean, occasionally he goes in for a tackle, and he can do it, but more often than not, he'll just hide.
Yeah.
I think this one here, Alvarez. Well, look, JWP, Alvarez, and Souček last season was an unmitigated disaster. They could not play with each other. Potter has actually got that working a few times. It's been boring, but he's got it working a few times, and it provided a shield to the defence, but it didn't do anything going forward. That's the problem with it. But it was better than the Moyes version of it, which just left us wide open.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be fuming with that midfield three as well. That would not be good. Souček and JWP cannot be playing together against Spurs. That's just a big no. If Potter does that, then I am really, really going to be questioning him.
You're going to be very, very angry, Chris. Very, very angry.
Well, look, I mean, that's the funny thing, because conversely, if we end up winning the game and Ward-Prowse and Souček have a belter, then suddenly you're just like, am I wrong? Is he right? But no, in general, playing them two together is catastrophic. I mean, it's a disaster. It always has been when you play them two together. You might get the odd game where they play well, but doesn't mean that's the answer. You know,
so this is the thing, right? This is what I meant when I said last week that he does a job, because he does. He literally, what job James Ward-Prowse can do, and that is it. He's always going to be there to receive the ball. He can receive it in a tight situation. He can release the ball. He won't get pushed off the ball. And he can pass pretty well, but he can pass at pedestrian pace. It's never faster than it's never a quick pass, is it? He's always got to take a touch to control it. That's all he does, really. It's a low tempo, quite safe option. And maybe that's what Potter sees in him at the moment, as a safe option in the middle. It's not an exciting option, though. It's not exciting enough for me. If it was a team full of ball prouses, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't go. I'd love to see this. I would really genuinely love to see this. Give Alford a go. I just can't see it. I mean, it does look so good. It's like mouth-watering watching.
I must admit, I was thinking about this today, actually, because particularly against Spurs, right? Particularly against Spurs. If you've got a young West Ham kid coming through the academy, playing against Spurs, a bit like what Mark Noble did. You remember the Tevez season when we lost 4-3? I think that was his debut. I'm sure it was his debut in the Premier League. And he scored, or whatever it was. Was it debut? I don't know. But the impact and the effect that can have when you get a youngster through the youth team playing against Spurs, I think is massive. It really it brings. Do you know what I mean? The fans are up for that.
I really agree. and that's why I know you revised your opinion about Skulls, and I think Gio did as well, because it was just he's rarely going to get that opportunity again. And your first London derby, when you're that age, your brain's developing still between like 18 and 23, I think it is. Your brain's developing to your surroundings, right? Getting accustomed to it. And to throw a kid in like that, because Noble played in plenty of Spurs derbies, didn't he, when he was younger, and London derbies in general. And he would have got a taste for that sort of football. He would have really.
And this is what I'm saying, though, Gary. Imagine how you, as a West Ham fan, you go into the stadium. West Ham Spurs, you look at the lineup and you've got Lewis Alford playing there in midfield, for instance, right?
Got to be exciting.
You're going to be buzzing because you're going to be right behind that kid.
Yeah.
He's one of our own, all of that kind of stuff. Even more so than when you play a left back, because he's right in the thick of the game, particularly in the middle of the park, right? You're going to be so up for that. And I think it would just get the fans on their feet. I really think it would add something. And actually, playing Lewis Alford against Spurs in midfield, it could be no fucking worse than playing JWP in midfield.
No, of course it couldn't be.
Just do it,
Oh, the monster's gone over. I've dropped monster all over the floor. Bollocks. Right, okay.
Lick it up, Gal. Don't waste that. Lick it up. Lick it up.
Monster that is. Gary and Chris, what you hoping for? Hoping the result will be, well, West Ham win. 1-0 will do me. What I'm hoping for is 7-0. Obviously, Randy. 8-0, 9-0.
I think it's going to be. I think it could be a high-scoring game, this one, mate. I do.
5-5.
No, not that high scoring. I was thinking my usual 3-1 predictions
coming
out of the bag.
Should we do our predictions? Let us know in the chat what you think the score will be on Sunday at the London Stadium. The bowl of football.
What are you saying, Gail? What's your prediction?
My prediction is West Ham United 2, Tottering Hotspur 1.
Toffspur. Do you remember that? The Chinese fellow when they're interviewing him, Toffspur? He goes, who are they? I reckon I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham.
Have you seen Chinese Trump on Twitter? On TikTok? Oh, you got to watch it.
Yeah, I'm going to go 3-2 West Ham. I think it's going to be a decent scoring game, and it's going to be an edge of your seat one as well, 3-2.
Look. She has to step in here, and discipline me. Next live chat will be Gary moaning about ants if you don't tidy it up. See? Bloody hell.
It will be.
Very
He's
true,
a miserable git.
I will tidy it up, I promise you, Claire. 3-2 to us, says Kat.
We agree on a lot of things here.
I just want to give 100%. Well, you've brightened up, Trodge, over the period of this show. You've brightened up a little bit, right? So at least you want 100%. Because so you are interested in this game. That's what you're saying.
Just want to Gary get a straw. Fair point. And a bib as well, maybe.
Straw at best, Ralph, enjoying the sun. You're not enjoying the sun, are you, Ralph? That's the thing. You should get out more into the sun. It might cheer you up. Chris, we have the same brain again. Ah, yes. So Darren Potter, 4-1 to us. That's the spirit.
Oh, wow.
Another 3-2. West Ham 3.
Bodger
2.
Love it. Bodger knows his shit. Yes.
Glenn Pearson, wash your mouth out. Go and give your hands a wash after you've typed that, right? Tactics. Fucking 1-3 to Spurs. Fucking hell. No. Safe result. 1-1, 1-0, Randy. Positive result, negative result. A negative score will be 2-1 to Spurs. Yeah, is that what you're going? What are you going for? Get off the fence, Randy. Is it 1-1? Is it 1-0? Is it 2-1 to Spurs? What are you going?
So that's a lot of that's a lot of predictions.
Cover your base. It's like hedging. It's like hedging with two other bets. 4-2 to West Ham. That's the spirit, Claire. It's more like it.
Claire loves a goal, doesn't she? She's always going with these high-scoring goals. Yeah.
1-1, says Stephen Russell. Bloody hell. 3-0, says Jason. Yes, that is more like it. Full Krug hat trick. That is what I'm talking about. Yes.
Darren, like I've got Darren. He's super positive, but he was at the game the other week, sitting in front of me, and I can't believe you're coming out with these predictions, mate. Because you must have been nearly asleep watching that, because I was.
2-2 says Trudge. I'll tell you what, 2-2 an entertaining game. We're unlucky.
I feel that as well.
Win. And if we're unlucky not to win, 2-2 an entertaining game. If they've got a strong team out or a decent team out, I'd settle for that. Be all right. Just don't want to lose to them.
I think 2-2 actually. I think. I'm going to go for 2 predictions: 3-2 or 2-2. I can actually imagine 2-2.
2 predictions. No,
I can do what I want, mate. I can do what I want.
Prediction. What one are you going to call right if one comes true?
Both. I can call both. I can do what I want. Just like Full Crew can. Just like Full Crew can say what he wants. I'm going to say what I want. Right?
If it's 2-0, we win 5-0. I'll claim it because we won. Yeah.
If you didn't predict 5-0, you get. I'm saying 2 clean predictions. You can say right. It's
going to be 1-2. I'm going to go 2-0, 3-1, 3-2, 3-0.
No, 2 predictions now, not fucking 5. 2 predictions.
2-0 and 3-0. I'll have
2-0 and 3-0. All right.
No,
and I'm
2-1 and 3-0. 2-1 and 3-0.
I'm fucking lost. I don't even know, mate. But Chris I'm going 3-2 or 2-2.
All right. Barry Krishna goes 2-0. Christopher says 3-1. Steve Tiley says 3-1. He's even got scorers. Full Crew 2. I think Full Crew is going to score. I do think Caduce is going to be in the mood this weekend. 1, because he's Spurs, but 2, most importantly, he scored last weekend. Right. Bowen up front. Now, Bowen must prove his captaincy. I hope Danny Dyer's got him into a little quiet room before the game, giving him a good talking to, you know.
Which
and one? The dad. And then I hope, and I hope the night before the other one takes care of it, take good care of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but not knacker him out though. We need a bit of energy in Bowen. Do you know what I mean?
Look, well, maybe tonight's the night then. Tonight's the night, Danny. If you're going to get something on, tonight is the night. Leave him tomorrow.
So what you're saying is you want Danny to do all the work,
or tomorrow?
Bowen just allowing his back, basically. Yeah.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Right, El Crapo. Yeah. How can you guys be confident we beat Spurs? Well, I can be confident about what I like. I often make good and bad predictions, but I make predictions. It's last season for the Umbro kit. We're going New Balance next year.
Yeah, I heard that today. I'm quite. Did you know? I'll be delighted to see the back of fucking Umbro kits. I don't like them, mate.
They've not been good, have they? I mean, it was their fault we ended up with that orange one, and we happened to win a trophy in it, which will always be remembered for now.
Yeah,
being treated as a classic, won't it? You know.
Well, yeah, it will be. But I personally, I'm quite happy with the New Balance kit. I think New Balance made Liverpool's kits, didn't they, as well?
Scouts of 6 I'm off out with the lads. Wishing everyone on chat a great weekend and up the toffees and hammers. Let's hope both get a good win. Yeah, see you later, mate.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, I quite like Everton. Just don't like Moyes. Right. Well, I like him now. He's not with us. No, I still don't like him. Guilherme. Now, that's the dream, isn't it? Guarino. That's the dream. Gets the winner and becomes a legend.
Man, that's your wet dream, Gal.
Winston Reid scoring ball in the Pikey's net. Winston Reid. That Millwall game. They could get promoted, by the way, with Millwall. They've got to beat Burnley at Burnley, and Coventry and another team have got to slip up. But they could get promoted.
That's insane.
Could
you imagine? Oh, wow. Yeah.
I think we did cross pass in the old Division 1 once, didn't we? Or was it the Premier League? I don't know. 2-1 to West Ham. Says Don. So there's a lot of positivity on it. I think, the audience on here have come on in a largely positive mood. Barry Krishna is going one more news. Ridiculous. 1-0, 2-0, 3-2. Yeah, it's unacceptable, Barry. 3-1 at 87 minutes. But God knows how it ends. Exactly, yeah. I think I might leave on 85 minutes. What do you reckon? No, I won't. We've got to do a vlog, isn't it, Chris?
Yes. Yeah. We shall do this. Yeah. We're gonna ride it right to the very end.
There's Come on Your Irons and Seagulls too. Yeah, we're not playing you this week, so happy with that. I
do think though, like I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, how can you think that West Ham are going to get a result? We can't beat Southampton." All this stuff, right? I get all that, but these types of games are one-offs. London derbies against Spurs, anything can happen. It's been proven year over year that these are just one-off games. So
even when Spurs were good, we could go to their place and turn them over, right? We could. That's a fact. We did. Mm-hmm. We did. It was hilarious because they thought they'd
battered their 4-1, mate.
Yeah, but they thought they'd moved a couple of levels above us, didn't they? And they were looking down at us, and that's when they started calling it a cup final. and then we kept beating them. And yeah, they were very sad about it. Very sad.
Yeah, I know.
Cat, I would love to take my boy to Morgan. You wouldn't.
It was not worth them being in the Prem. I'd love to take. Mate, honestly, mate, I'd love them to see them going into the Prem. I actually would, and then obviously get relegated and be one of the worst teams ever to grace the Premier League. That'd be quite funny. Humiliated.
Oh, they get humiliated, yeah. But the thing is, it does give you a big money boost, a big, so you can go down with money and put a challenge it to come up again. You'd be a yo-yo club like Norwich.
Yeah, fuck it then. Yeah, no, I don't want to see them up. But no, just to see West Ham Millwall again would be good fun, to be fair. But yeah, I don't want to see them.
Do you remember that?
Success,
do you remember that one where he put the ball in the Pikey's net? That wasn't the last one. The last one was the League Cup, but the one where Winston Reid scored the winner down the other end near the centenary stand. That was a daytime, and everyone basically dressed in black. There were no colours, right? No colours there at all.
Julian Faubert battering their keeper, didn't he?
Yeah,
bang, Winston Reid banged it in. Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant. Such a celebration.
Never a foul. That would have been called foul nowadays, wouldn't it? That would have been.
Of course, it would. It'd be VAR, wouldn't it? VAR.
Yeah.
If we lose on Sunday, full scale insurrection. No, they won't. People are going just miserable. You think too much of the way of our fans. Listen, I'll tell you what. I wouldn't mind a full-scale insurrection against Sullivan, but I wouldn't back it against the manager.
Yeah, we need to go against that little fucking dwarf, mate. Seriously, I can't handle it anymore. I can't. By the way, I didn't leave when Southampton equalised. I was there right to the very end. But what I tend to do though is when it gets to the last couple of minutes, I go to the back and I stand up and watch the last few minutes of the game. But I never leave early. I always watch the last few minutes. Yeah.
I think most people as well inside that ground, regular season ticket holders who are not just day trippers, right? And there are plenty of day trippers there. If anyone's going to start trouble, it would be them because they can't be identified generally. You're not going to get people who can be identified getting up to jiggery pokery. What do you want to do that for? You're grown up, right? What do you want to do?
It's just a waste of flipping money, isn't it, mate? What you can do that? It's like It's like buying 4 season tickets when you've only got two people going. Like
no one despises the owners more than me, but I'm not going to go and attack them, am I? Because you're not allowed. You're not allowed to do that. You're going to never go and see football again. You're going to get locked up, right? It's like the people who are throwing things at him and stuff like that. Protests absolutely fine, but not when when you say insurrection, I start thinking it puts the images of the what's it called, the one where Trump got voted out, fucking hell, what is it called? Congress. That's it. Congress. Where people were climbing in through the windows and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be. West Ham fans typically don't get that angry, but they should point hostility in terms of, songs, bad press. Maybe songs are good. If they can be sung loud and clear. They're good and they're effective. Also, another thing that's effective that I would totally back was what Newcastle did before they got rid of the fat bloke from Sports Direct, and that was don't go into the ground until about 10 minutes after the game starts. And that was really effective because that game was live on telly. I mean, that would have looked, you get the message across, right?
Well, yeah, you vote with your feet, don't you? But I just kind of I don't want to. I mean, if we do lose to Spurs on Sunday, I don't want to see us turning on Potter, even though he might be culpable for us for that loss if he plays a certain way or plays certain players or formations. But ultimately, all of my frustration and anger will only be towards David Sullivan and the owners of West Ham. I can't put it anywhere else because they are the pure reason for all of this mess. So I think people need to start realizing that again.
I mean, it's such an easy what we're doing when people turn their anger towards the manager and the players. I mean, with me, I do get grumpy with the manager. I definitely do, and I think he can do more. But I also think he could do a lot more if the players fucking pulled their weight, right? Yeah. So I blame Sullivan for him being there and the selection of players we've got being there, and Lopetegui coming in. And Moyes staying too long and everything else. I blame him for a whole host of stuff, not spending money in the transfer window, right? He is the root cause. Potter is just a symptom. So are the players. They're a symptom of that root cause, right? So attack it, you've got to talk about the root cause. Don't let these things distract you, because all right, what's that? A little sugar rush. Sack the manager, get him out. You get him out. Another, fucking.
I've noticed though, Gal. Yeah, I've noticed though, Gal. Not everyone is jumping on Potter at the moment.
No, I know.
A lot of people start to direct it back
on
Sullivan.
Pleased. I'm really pleased to see that. I like to think we had something to do with it, but but a few people were doing it as well, and I've noticed Gio's doing it this week as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm pleased about that because literally, if this club's ever going to get sorted out, they've got to go. They've got to go. Because if we do well, for instance, this year, say you gave him some signings and we did well and we finished halfway, you can guarantee give him no budget to improve it next year because he's not interested in moving up. He's interested in staying there.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's proven. It's proven.
Yeah. Season. It's all about staying up. Even when we won that trophy, that season was about staying up. We fluked it. We fluked our way into a final because we had the best team, right? That's what it is. Or found ourselves in a competition that was possible for us to win. What block are we in? I haven't got a clue. I think it's 153. What are you in, Chris? What block you in? I don't know.
Huh? I don't know what block.
I'm near the back. I'm near the back in 153.
Well, it depends with you though, Gal, because you've got seats all over the shop now.
No. I've only got those two this Sunday. I ain't got those until the next thing. Your last game at Hudson Park was against Millwall 20 odd years ago. That was probably the Winston Reid one, wasn't it?
I'm in 148. I'm in 148. I don't even look. That's mental. I've been there for years, and I don't know what block I'm sitting in. But yeah, no, I'm in 148.
I'm given up monster. He's given up monster. Bungs. He's given up everything. Giving it up. He's giving up bags and monster, whereas I'm still doing the monster and a bit of vaping.
Yeah, I'm getting healthy again, Gal. Again,
who are the top three worst owners in the Premier League? David Sullivan number 1, David Sullivan number 2, David Sullivan number 3.
Sullivan gold Brady. Well,
no, they're not owners. Sullivan,
I know, but still.
But I would, and I'm going to blame Krasinski as well. That fucker, he's come in, investment, loads of promises. Some people actually fell for his nonsense as well. Some of us looked at his track record in the fact that he's just really, invest, cut costs, and make a profit and fuck off, which is what he's doing with the Post Office or Royal Mail, whatever it is. It's what he does. He's just another charlatan investor. He expected to make a healthy return, and all he found was Sullivan with his hand out regularly. I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised. It would have been great, wouldn't it? Had he came in and actually had an ounce of passion in his body, Krasinski. But no, he's not. He's called the Sphinx because he's emotionless when he does his. He's very a cold, cool operator. He's there to make money and nothing else. Don't forget that. And so is Sullivan. Is Sullivan. Darren says, "Gary, Chris, I'm getting the tickets for next season. BML behind the left goal. The left goal. Oh, right. Goal post right at the front of. I've got to make this bigger. Did you see in Potter's interview? He got death threats from Chelsea supporters. Yeah, well, you wouldn't take them seriously, would you?
Yeah, I'm actually going to move. My plan is to move next season. I think, because I'm kind of around the area now, but my plan is to move. I want to get a different. I don't know where yet, but I'm going to try and sort that out.
Was is das. My very small part. Has my very small part been on 6'2"? I didn't know that. I'll have a look. That's Nigel's site. I'll have a look. Thank you. Look, I think we're done. We've got no more comments. We've got loads of positive, a couple of a small handful of smattering of negative, but I think we're all upbeat because we need a fucking win. So come on, West Ham, come on, Potter, get your act together, pick the right players, pick and tack a team. Let's hunt them down, go after them, put them to bed, send them off to Bodo Glimt where they're going to get fucked on the plastic pitch, 3-0, get out of Europe. Finish full from bottom. No night Spurs. Come on, West Ham. Other than that,
also forgot about Arsenal losing against PSG in the second leg. And
come on, PSG. Can I get a half and heart Bodo Glimt and PSG shirt? Is that?
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be good. That's a money spinner for West Ham fans, isn't it?
See if I can get like 2 cheap Chinese ones or something and cut them up. That'd be good.
I might get a flag made. I might get a Bodo, Glimt, and PSG half and half flag made and take it to bottom stand.
Yeah,
that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, that'd be good.
Must be able to do a play on words. But anyway, look, thank you everybody in the chat for your lovely comments. Thank you, Claire, for being the mod. Mean tonight as well. So always good to see. And thank you, Chris. We'll be back. Hopefully, it's going to be a big win. Alcohol in hand, Sunday night. Celebrating.
Yes.
Spurs
Hey, look, it's bank holiday as well, so Sunday there's an excuse to drink as well. So exactly. If West Ham win and it's a great result, a great performance, and for sure, I think I'll have a drink as well.
Until then, have a good weekend. See you Sunday. Come on, you irons. Perhaps I should play the outro as well. Yeah, I will.
Yeah, go on, go on.